Wake up!
And gab with your favorite girl in the world, Autumn Bottom Brown.
Brown. Kermit the Frog here. That wasn't Kermit. What is this? I don't know. I'm gonna be my own Muppet. Brr, 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 brr. Wah!
Hi there, everybody. Thank you for joining me for yet another installment in Autumn Nights. Now, I've been doing this for 6 weeks now, which honestly, I have to say, I'm very impressed. I really thought that I was going to give it up after the first week. So, round of applause, please, for myself, but also to you guys for actually showing up to listen to me babble about a lot of nothing every Friday. So thanks for that. I'm really enjoying making these videos, but really what I would really love to do is more in-depth, longer form videos, kind of back to like my teaser analysis videos where I just really get to dive into the meat of a movie or a TV show or something like that. And unfortunately, I'm a very, very, very slow worker when it comes to everything, but that specifically. And with making these videos, working, trying to make stickers, I'm also doing a writing project, all this other stuff, future plans that I'm trying to come up with. It takes a lot of time. So I've decided to try to open up some time for myself so that I won't have to worry quite so much with my finances. I've decided to test out a Patreon. Because then if I'm having some more money, that'll free up a little bit more time, hopefully, for me to focus on making more videos. So, my Patreon will be live by the time this video is airing. I'll have a link to it in the description. I have 3 different tiers. First tier is going to be my live stream, just general support tier. At the end of every video, your name will pop up, whatever name you want, as an end credit acknowledgement, thanking you for being a patron. And I'm also going to do monthly live streams, private live streams for all the patrons. Q&As, people have requested read-throughs, so that's definitely going to be something that we're going to be doing. Drink and draw games. Your girl loves a drink. What are we drinking today? Just a LaCroix, because I got a lot of shit I gotta do today. It's Thursday, and I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, so I gotta get this video done today. Delicious. Have you guys tried this? Strawberry peach? Look how cute that can is. Look how absolutely Barbie darling that is. I want a, shrunk down miniature version of this to put into a Polly Pocket playhouse, Second tier, $10 tier. You get everything from the $5 tier, but you're also going to get behind the scenes little looks at my videos. A lot of my videos, I have sections that end up getting cut out for time or relevance. So I'll be adding, those little special cutout bits that just didn't have a place in whatever video that I was working on, as well as updates on videos. If I come to a point where I'm trying to decide between video ideas or maybe even for the live streams, what to do. You guys are going to have the voting opportunity to weigh in on what you think I should do next. A very exciting stuff. $15 tier, a final tier. You obviously get everything from the tiers before, but you also get a little physical reward. On my birthday, we're going to switch things up and I'm going to send you a birthday card with a little sticker. Isn't that fun? And then on Christmas, you're always going to get a Christmas card from me, okay? As long as you're my patron, you're getting that bad boy Christmas card. Speaking of Christmas cards, anyone who signs up for my Patreon in the month of December will get a Christmas card from Autumn Bottom Brown. Don't you want that on your fridge? There's a perfect spot. I just know it. Right next to the handle, so you'll see me every time it's midnight and you're opening up to eat shredded cheddar cheese by the handful in front of the fridge light. I'll be there with you, saying, way to go. Have another handful. Isn't that what you want? Yeah. Yeah. If you can, think about checking it out. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to building out that community a little bit more. If you don't have the means, that's okay. I'm still going to be posting here. I'm still going to be talking with you in the comments. Love that you're here. So thank you. All right, time for the self-promo to end. What have I been up to this week? Great question. Sunday. It's me. I'm cooking. I realize, oh my God, It's December 8th. When did that happen? I thought that it was December 1st. It just turned December yesterday. No, it didn't. That was a week ago. Now it's nearly 2 weeks ago. So I says to myself, Autumn, you haven't watched one Christmas movie yet. And it's been December for 8 days. You gotta get on this. And I say, yes, I do, Autumn. I'm gonna fix that right now. So I walk to the living room. I pick up the TV remote. I open the Peacock app because it was the last one that I had opened. And I'm scrolling through their movie selection. And naturally, when searching for a Christmas movie, I did settle upon watching Shrek. Yeah, I don't know. It really spoke to me at the time, and that's what I felt like watching. So I watched it. And I hadn't watched the movie in quite a while. I think college was the last time that I actually watched Shrek. The first one. Shrek 2, that's a yearly rotation, baby. That gets watched all the time. But it'd been a while since I'd seen the first Shrek movie. And I have to say, I've seen it as an adult, and I remember thinking this movie still holds up. This movie is still really funny and really fantastic and tells a good story. But the animation as well, I know, because I've seen since then a bunch of people talking about, as Y2K has become more popular with Gen Z and everything like that, and reliving the 2000s, stuff from our childhood and from the 2000s has been circulating a lot more recently, like in the past few years in discussions. So I've seen Shrek pop up quite a bit in discussions about terrible animation, and I don't know what those people were talking about. Sure, it's not as smooth necessarily as what we have now, but the textures in this film are astounding. That's the biggest thing that stood out to me this go round. Like, you can see the stitching in Shrek's shirt. You can see the pores on his face. Fiona has light little freckles and not cute Disney ones. They're just on her nose and cheeks right here. Like, they're in odd random placements of varying color variation. When she's getting married, oh my god, the sunlight comes through. You can see the lacing in her veil. All the trees, you can see the bark and the grass, every single blade of grass, every single blade of hair. Obviously, it's still, like, when you compare it directly to, what's getting made now it is a lot smoother and I think more expansive. But I think also, like, I was paying attention that the scene where Shrek and Donkey go to rescue Fiona from the dragon's lair, the use of shadow and lighting in the movie, it's got gorgeous lighting. And I think just a general issue with a lot of movies these days, not just like animated movies, but movies in general, we're losing out the importance of really gorgeous lighting. And that doesn't just mean lens flares or like nice sunsets and sunrises. I mean having values of contrast. If you were to like change everything to black and white, what would stand out? Or would everything be kind of muted tones of gray? How to heighten scenes with heightened lighting. And I'm not saying that movies don't utilize shadows and darkness and light, but I think it's just not as elevated. I think a lot of the lighting in movies today is very much focused on figuring out, well, where would the light naturally be coming from, and trying to make things look as naturalistic as possible. And I'm just bored of it. It gets thrown around a lot, but there's that lovely quote from the cinematographer, I think from The Lord of the Rings, when I can't remember who it was who asked him. Maybe it was Elijah Wood or one of the actors, when they were lighting the scene, with the big spotlights and stuff, so you could see what's going on in the battle and the rain and the night, and them saying, but where is the light coming from? And his response being something to the effect of, the same place the music is coming from. It's a movie. It's not real, especially something that's a fantasy like Lord of the Rings, but just in general, even if it's grounded in reality, if you're not filming a documentary, then use the lighting to better tell your story. Make it stand out more. Give the scene a little bit more atmosphere. But in Shrek, the Dragon's Lair, with, the knights' bodies everywhere, you can see what's going on. They're cloaked in shadow. There's shadow everywhere, but there's also light pouring through everywhere, either red, ominous light from the fire and the lava over which the whole castle sits, or it beaming down from the harsh, full moonlight. You can see perfectly what's happening while also having this sense of unease and not knowing what's lurking in the darkness and in the pure black of some shadows in the background. And I want to add to this point too, it's not also just the specific light values itself, it's also the contrast in color, the blue with the red. Later on, there's a scene at nighttime where Shrek and Donkey are talking, and again, lit by the moon and the stars, it's very blue, you can still see everything. But in contrast, they have another light source from a fire that's providing this really warm yellow light on them. And so having this yellow directly with this blue, it provides such much more interesting visuals and more complexity to the visuals that adds a complexity to the movie at large. I'm thinking a lot about Frozen, and I understand the whole like color palette is very cool and blue and purple, but you know, just sometimes you can add other colors to heighten your color palette and just enrich it a little bit more, you know, studying color theory and how every layer of complexity you can add to your movie enriches the story overall. I think it's a beautiful movie, really, despite the crunchiness at times. So as I'm watching it, the movie ends and I'm, reading about the animation studios and stuff like that and what they used and the process, to making this movie. And it got me thinking about other movies, Dreamwork specifically, animated movies of my childhood that I hadn't revisited in a while. We have Prince of Egypt, banger. The Road to El Dorado, banger. Ants, haven't seen it since I was a kid, so I don't know if it's still a banger, but you get what I'm saying. DreamWorks was pumping out quality shit in the 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. But one movie that I hadn't thought about in ages and have never seen hardly anyone ever talk about is a movie that I remember absolutely adoring when I saw it at 6 or 7 years old and haven't seen since. And that movie was Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. Now, I remember watching this movie at my dad's house, the movie place, the movie palace. And once we were done, my dad pretty much dismissing the movie, saying, okay, well, that wasn't as good as the other movies that we've come home with. And I was so offended because I loved it. I thought it was good. And the rest of my siblings chimed in and talked about how, yeah, it's not as great as El Dorado, not as good as Shrek, not as fun as Chicken Run. Probably won't be renting that one again. And I was so bummed out because I thought it was such a fun adventure. So as an adult, I thought to myself, what a great opportunity to be that really smug person who digs up a movie from their childhood that no one else talks about. And it's like, actually, so like, you can have your Shreks and Beauty and the Beasts and Prince of Egypts, but Sinbad is kind of on that same level. And then have everyone else say, oh my God, Autumn, what is Sinbad? And me respond, well, you wouldn't know. You just had to be there, but allow me to educate you. And then people would watch it and they would say, oh my God, this movie really is just as good, if not better, than The Lion King or Aladdin or Spirited Away even. This might be the greatest animated movie ever made. I owe all my gratitude to Autumn for introducing me to this film, and I would humbly accept that gratitude. That's what I thought was going to happen here. So I look up this movie. I have to rent it. I have to pay for it. But it's okay. Reliving my childhood experience while enriching my adult experience by garnering the praise and appreciation of viewers like you. That's priceless to me. I'll pay anything to rent this movie, unless it's more than $5, because honestly, that's just absurd. What are we doing at this point, guys? So I queue it up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for elementary school Autumn to receive her flowers as the greatest blossoming movie critic this world has ever seen, for holding in her heart this movie and loving it and reminding adult Autumn that she should check it out again. And guys, the movie sucks. It sucks. I didn't like it at all. I was so disappointed in myself. Why did I like that movie? I'll tell you why. Eris. That's it. I thought she was cool as hell. Her swirling, smoking hair disappearing in and out wherever she wants to. Yeah, that's cool as hell. I will say there is some good animation in the movie. But even okay, starting off, this movie has a weird weird mix of traditional 2D animation as well as early 2000s 3D animation. And it's kind of mind-boggling because I'm pretty sure this movie came out a year after Shrek, and yet the 3D animation sequences look so horrible. So horrible. And it's from the same studio. So I don't know why there wasn't communication between the two groups who were working on Shrek to maybe make the shit in Sinbad look a little bit better. But the thing is, it was never going to work anyways. You can't have as much mixing of two wildly different looking technologies in a movie and make it look good. I mean, I guess that's not true. You have stuff like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which technically that's, cartoon with live action, but it works.
I mean, it's just like when you see a character flying in a movie. You know that people can't fly, but if in this world people can, you come to believe it. Same with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. In this world, cartoons and humans can live and interact with each other. And also it's consistent. So your brain has something to latch on to and becomes to like recognize the pattern of the world. Whereas with Sinbad, it's just the 3D is so randomly inserted and it just doesn't flow. It stands out every time.
It needed to all be 3D, and at least even if it was horrible 3D animation, at some point, your brain can at least go along with it because that's the look and the aesthetic that you've established for your movie. Especially considering the 2D animation is really good. It just makes the 3D animation look all the worse in direct comparison. And as I said, it doesn't offer any cohesion. It just doesn't work together. It's like teriyaki ice cream. On their own, they're fine. Put them together, what are we doing, guys? And there are other moments within the movie, like sometimes the sea it's a computer generated animation.
Back to lighting. I mean, when you see the 2D animation right next to the 3D animation, they each take light in very, very different ways. 2D animation, it's almost reflective, like the light goes over them. Where there's a shadow or shade, it's a hard line showing where that shading is. Whereas the 3D objects on screen absorb light, so it's more of a gradation of that light being splayed. They're less saturated. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
The buildings at one point, when they're coming into Syracuse, are 3D animated. And again, it's just jarring to having these things together when you can so clearly see that they're two separate styles. And I just think overall the animation is good. But again, when you compare it to other movies that were coming out around the time, it's just not as detailed, I found. For example, right after I watched this movie, I had to cleanse my palate with a good Dreamworks animated film. So I watched The Road to El Dorado. And that, stunning. And again, from the same studio. Then there's so much detail packed into every single visual, all of the backgrounds. I mean, you could just pause the movie at any given point and get lost in all the details and the colors that are going on in the environment of that movie. It's a gorgeously animated film. And I just didn't find myself getting taken away as much with the animation in this movie. It's not that it's bad animation, it's solid animation. It just wasn't as compelling to me. But also, I'm not super familiar with the tales of Sinbad, the actual Arabic tales, but I know that they're Arabic tales. So imagine my surprise when I'm watching the movie and it takes place like in Syracuse with a lot of Eris, Roman goddess, I do believe. Tartarus, she's in Tartarus. That's where her realm is. Why was this movie like this Greco-Roman inspired bullshit? They could have just made the Odyssey if they wanted to do a seafaring, that type of world story. Why didn't they do that? Literally the only thing that they took from the Sinbad tales was the name Sinbad. When they stop off on the island after passing through the dragon's teeth in the sirens scene, and it turns out the island is not an island at all. It is in fact a giant anglerfish that's kind of borrowed from Sinbad, but it's a whale in the original story. And then the giant eagle bird thing who steals Marina. That's kind of like a little bit inspired by one of the tales, but literally only that tiny piece. I'm just confounded by the decision to call this a Sinbad movie instead of just coming up with either an original character and have it be inspired by Sinbad, or just make an Odyssey movie. Like, if you want to establish it on that world, you know? But, like, let's get into the story, shall we? Okay? So we open with Eris. She's the goddess of chaos. And she wants the Book of Peace so that chaos can reign over the world. Sure. Who has the Book of Peace? Proteus, the Prince of Syracuse. He's on his way to deliver it to the city for safekeeping, and so that the 12 cities shall be safe and peaceful for all time to come. But what's this? It's Sinbad, the pirate. He's come to steal the Book of Peace, to hold it for ransom and sell, so that him and his crew can retire to Fiji. What the fuck is this Book of Peace, though? I don't understand the whole plot point of the Book of Peace to begin with. If it exists, and just on its own, it's supposed to inspire peace, which that's what we're led to believe, because they just want it in Syracuse just so they can keep it safe. But why would they need to keep it safe if it inspires peace already? Because they're saying if we have it in Syracuse, then there'll be peace in all the 12 cities. Why wouldn't there be peace in all the 12 cities no matter where it is? You know what I'm saying? They don't clarify that. I'm not the type of person to get caught in the nitty-gritty details of stories. I want to be swept up in the suspension of my disbelief. I want to fall full-fledged into the story that you're telling me. I will believe whatever you throw at me. I won't question it if you can justify it within the means of your world. But I need a little something. I don't think this movie does a successful job of providing a cohesive look, a cohesive world and set of rules that they live upon, or a cohesive message. And when that happens, then your audience starts to question everything and be like, but why is this happening? And what good is this? And if Eris is so powerful to do all of this other shit, why can't she just go down and grab the book herself? So as I said, Sinbad tries to steal the book from Proteus. Turns out it's his old BFF from childhood. Oh my god. And Proteus is like, Sinbad, what happened to you? You used to be such a pal. And Sinbad's like, you know what happened. We took our separate ways. Blah, blah, blah. Mysterious path, mysterious path. So the whole time you're thinking something has happened to Sinbad that drove these two apart. I wonder what that could be. Obviously, he's grown into a rough and rugged person now, but there's some explanation for it buried within his past. And we're going to get to that. They hint towards that throughout the whole movie, that there's something lying underneath Sinbad that made him the way that he is now. There's something that's happened that's made him turn into himself to where he feels like he can only really rely on himself. Therefore, he's only looking out for himself. Pirate type of guy. So yeah, he doesn't steal the book. They get attacked by this squid monster thing. Eris proposes to Sinbad, steal the book for me, and I'll make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. Sinbad says, sounds like a great idea. So he goes back to Syracuse, meets up with Proteus in the castle, and all the guards are like, oh my god, that's the guy who tried to rob our ship. Kill him. And Proteus says, no, that's my old bestie. Hands off. Come on, guys. You're welcome in. Have some free food. Have some free wine. We're gonna have a good time. Sinbad's all, keep your eyes open for the Book of Peace. But then Proteus introduces Sinbad to his fiancée, Marina. A shade passes over Sinbad's face. He turns around. He leaves. Let's get out of here, guys. Forget the book. The intrigue. What's this thing with Sinbad and Marina? Because Marina doesn't seem like she recognizes Sinbad. I bet this has to do with that mysterious past that he's hiding that's made him who he is. Right? That's what you're thinking. Sinbad and his crew are on their way out when, as I said, Eris takes the opportunity to come down, disguise herself as Sinbad, steal the book. Sinbad then gets snatched by the guards. The real Sinbad this time. You stole the Book of Peace! Tell us where the Book of Peace is! I don't know where the Book of Peace is! Liar! They throw Sinbad in front of a tribunal. Tell us where the Book of Peace is, or you shall die. I don't know where the Book of Peace is, he says. Then you shall die. Wait! says Proteus. Hold me instead. Why the fuck would you do that? You're the Prince of Syracuse. This is some grubby pirate who stole the Book of Peace. Because, Dad, I know him. He's a good, honorable man. Proteus says that he will stay in prison in place of Sinbad for 10 days, at which point he will be executed if Sinbad does not return with the Book of Peace, because he believes Sinbad did not actually steal the book, so he's got to go out there, find it, bring it back to prove his innocence.
So that's the setup for the movie. However, Eris doing this, stealing the book, begs the question, why didn't she just do that from the get-go? From the get-go? Because I thought, initially watching the movie, oh, she can't go down into the mortal world. That's why she's sitting this monster down, to try to turn events into her favor, to where she can take hold of the book. She can engage in Sinbad to steal the book for her, and then she can have it and let chaos reign. But no, that's not the case. She could have come down herself at any point and just taken the book, which also begs the question, why wouldn't she have done that 1,000 years ago? Why is the book still on Earth if you can just come down and do whatever the fuck you want? Again, the rules. Just set up some rules so I can understand what's happening in the movie. And she's like, I set all this up. I sent down the monster to attack the prince's ship, but not before him and Sinbad get to rekindle. So then Sinbad will come back to the castle after he doesn't steal the book, but I've engaged him to steal the book, but I know that he really won't once he gets to the castle, but I just need him in Syracuse so that when I come down, I can disguise myself as Sinbad, and then he'll get thrown in jail, and then I know that Proteus is gonna throw his own life on the line, and I know Sinbad is not gonna do the right thing and take his rightful spot in Proteus's place, and then they're gonna kill Proteus, and then Syracuse will have a prince, and then chaos will erupt. Like, you knew all of that? Humans are that predictable? Girl, you're doing your job right, Miss Goddess of Chaos. Make things a little bit more unpredictable. Oh my god, this is a you problem. But like, if she just would have stolen the book herself from the ship, chaos still would have erupted because they really want this book in Syracuse. Even though I don't know what the book does!
Sinbad takes the deal. He's on his way out. He's leaving. He tells the crew, guys, get your sunglasses and bikini bottoms out. We're going to Fiji. But what's this? Marina's a stowaway on the ship. To Fiji you shall not go. We are headed in the direction of Tartarus to save my Buthang Proteus. Thank you very much. And here's the deal. So obviously that's the goal. That's what ends up happening. Marina bribes Sinbad. She says, listen, I got a lot of money. I got a lot of diamonds. I will give you that money and diamonds to save Proteus. So Sinbad goes along with it for the pursuit of money. Right? Okay. You're following me. Pretty much, bunch of shit happens. Eris is watching as the ship makes its way to Tartarus. She keeps throwing fun little pit stops in their way. At one point, there are these sirens, which I will say the siren scene was really cool. I think that's one of the few scenes where the computer-generated animations actually works with the movie. The water sirens, very, very cool. Freezing the ocean over and the giant bird that's there out of nowhere. I mean, sure. The thing is, like, none of it really flows together. All of the things that happen just seem like little set pieces that don't really have much connection to each other. You're supposed to learn something from each of these new trials, right? That's the whole point of telling these stories. Every single trial has some lesson intertwined in it. And that doesn't really come across. Because the whole time, Sinbad is just this fucking asshole. He's such a dick throughout the whole movie, which I get what they're going for with the whole gruff, grubby guy who's only looking out for number one. It's the Han Solo prototype. But Han Solo works because he's cool. All right? He's got that edge going for him. He's not a complete out-and-out ass. He's funny. He's got cool one-liners. He's hot. He's got a sick vest. You have to counteract the shittiness with not shitty things to make the character work.
Also, Han has a reason for needing money, okay? Sinbad doesn't outside of greed. Sure, is it nice to retire to Fiji? Yeah. But when we meet Han, it's set up that he owes a great debt to Jabba. He's on his last leg, so he needs money now to save his own ass. So you understand where he's coming from, why he is the way he is. He's living in a regime. He's a smuggler. He's got the big slug godfather weighing on his back. We get him. Whereas Sinbad, we don't. We just have these allusions to like this sordid past that actually turns out to be bullshit.
He's charming. And I think that's one of the key issues with the movie is Sinbad is not charming at all. He just comes off as a dick. And I think part of the problem is the voice acting, because he's voice acted by Brad Pitt, who he's a very 50-50 actor for me. Sometimes in roles he's fantastic. Read After Burning, I mean, just creme de la creme. He's killing it. He should play more dopey, goofy characters. That's where he excels. He actually can do pretty well with comedy. Like, even slapstick. Bullet Train, I thought he did really well in Bullet Train. But, like, he's got too much frat bro energy to take a character who's written as an asshole and make him not seem like an asshole. He just doesn't have the line of vulnerability that makes you believe that this is just a person guarding themselves, and that's why they're acting the way that they are. The world has turned them into this person, versus some people, we all know them, are just garbage people. That's who they are. And that's how Sinbad comes across. Just a garbage person.
Still think a ship's no place for a woman?
Absolutely.
This whole time, he's bitching about Marina being this privileged little princess who, doesn't know how hard life has been to him, making her out to be like someone who won't get her hands dirty and who won't do shit when shit hits the fan. And the thing is, the movie shows time and time again that she's not that person. The fact that she's stowed away on the ship to begin with shows that she has grit, to some degree, that she's doing what she can to ensure that her fiance is going to make it out okay. And Sinbad, we come to find out, doesn't know Marina, so he has no grounding to justify what he keeps saying to her. Maybe if they'd made her like less of a hands-on badass, I would understand where Sinbad was coming from a little bit. Maybe if she was just like on the ship and showed her like expecting to be waited on or stuff like that, I would be like, yeah, you are kind of a little bit of a princess who doesn't understand how the real world works. So you need a wake-up call. And then that creates a genuine rift. And then I can understand a little bit where Sinbad is coming from, that, oh, great, now I have to deal with this too on top of everything else. But we see enough of, the damsel who needs to rely on the men to do things. So I like the character of Marina, who Marina is in the movie. So I wouldn't want them to have changed her into that type of character. I think they could have found other ways to cause rift and have there be tension between Marina and Sinbad, other than just having Sinbad essentially just being a misogynist to her the whole time. I get that they're wanting to show a character arc and him change by the end of the movie. But there are other ways you can do that. Like maybe Marina, in the siren scene, the men are being seduced by the sirens. She's got to jump in, save their asses, steer the ship out of the dragon's teeth, and save the day. So maybe after that, when the crew is like, oh my God, Marina saved us, she's acting high and mighty, trying to overstep Sinbad and be the new leader. That can cause friction because this is Sinbad's ship. This is his crew. Who do you think you are? I get that you saved the day, but at the end of the day, I'm the seasoned pirate here. I know what I'm doing. There were other ways that they could have built that tension and made it where Sinbad does learn that he doesn't always know best. And sometimes he does need help. And sometimes it's okay to open up to people. And maybe Marina does get more of that like life lesson-y thing. about how the real world works. I don't know. She's fine how she is. Sinbad's the one who needs character work. But also, too, during the whole trials and tribulations, they're like creating this love story between Marina and Sinbad, which again, Sinbad is nothing but an asshole the whole time. And Marina is a strong, independent woman. Hate using those words, but she is. So I just don't, there's no world where she buys into this and she falls in love with this man who treats her like shit. All right? Especially when she's got a 100% great honey back home who's laying his life down because he believes so much in honor for his friend. No! Are you kidding me? What message does that teach our children? Be an ass, make one good decision, and everything's fine. Your life will work out. Ugh. So they finally make it to Tartarus. Of course, Marina goes with Sinbad. They make it into the realm of chaos. Eris is like, I'll give you the Book of Peace if you can answer me honestly. Scout's honor, if I don't give you the Book of Peace, would you go back and take your spot that Proteus is now holding, or would you run away off to Fiji? And Sinbad answers, I would take my place and give Proteus back his life. And Eris answers, you're lying. Michelle Pfeiffer, she serves. All right, she's the voice of Eris. Sexy queen. So she takes the Book of Peace away, kicks him out. They go back to the ship. Sinbad is distraught. She was right, he says. No, she wasn't, Marina responds. No, I would run back off to Fiji. That's not true. I know the man you are. You're a man of honor. But please, Sinbad, you must run away. I can't see you die. I love you. Girl, stand up. Oh my God. Why does she love him? Going back through, they make it out of the dragon's teeth and they stop off to try to fix the ship because Sinbad's like, you banged up my ship. This paint is chipping here. Obviously like lashing out because she did a good job and his masculinity has been infringed upon by the fact that he was saved by a woman, or maybe like this person who he's looking down on knows a thing or two more than he thought that they did. Oh God, I could have been wrong. Kill me now, throw me into the ocean. Whereas I think, like I said, had it been a better voice actor, they could have pulled that off a little bit better to betray a little bit more of that vulnerability, a little bit more squeaks in the voice and unsureness when they're barking orders, trying to regain that control. But obviously they're losing it and they know it. But that's not how it came off. That's not the performance that we got. But Marina is like, oh, to fix this, we need tree sap. And Sinbad's like, ma. She says, fine, I'll fix it myself. I'll go get the tree sap. So she does. Like, she is putting in the work to, like, make shit happen. So why is she putting up with Sinbad's bullshit and ultimately saying that she loves him for putting her through shit? She loves him, but would you love me if I ran away? He responds, So he goes back. He takes his spot, and Eris, since she did the Scouts Honor thing, has to live up to her promise and hand back over the Book of Peace since he did tell the truth. Everybody cheered. Everyone goes home happy. Proteus is like, Marina, I see that you are in love with Sinbad, and I want you to be happy. Your happiness is more important to me than anything, so go be with your love. I mean, Marina, girls love a bad boy. I get it. Girls love a boy who's not good for them. I get it. Girls love a toxic boy. But, seriously? Seriously? Proteus was right there. He's such a good man. Again, what's the message? Good, honorable people don't get bitches. That's what I walked away with at the end of the movie. That's the message. Also, forgot to mention, you know how we were playing up like Sinbad's mysterious past and everything like that? And like what could have happened to him? Literally, this is the horrible thing that set him on the trajectory of his life. He's hanging out with his BFF Proteus one day when Proteus's arranged fiance steps off a ship. Who is it? Oh my God, guys. Who else would it be but Marina? Sinbad takes one look at her and sees the most beautiful thing he'd ever laid his eyes upon. And from that moment, he knew he could never have what Proteus had. So he hopped on the first outbound ship and set out to be a pirate. Like, that's his tragic story. Was he saw a girl, his best friend's fiance, and he was like, damn, she's too hot for me to bear. I gotta go and like ruin my life. It doesn't make him sympathetic. It makes him an ass. That he's gonna leave his best friend over a girl he's never even met. He's just looked at. You're leaving your best friend who you had all these plans with, who you like talk so winsomely about. We were supposed to join the Navy together, but I threw that away when I couldn't bag his bitch. Like, what? Nothing this movie does makes him sympathetic. He's a wholly unlikable character. And I just wanted to punch him in the face every time he came on, okay? And the dog, Spike, constantly drooling. That was disgusting. It was disgusting. I'm over it. Stop it. I feel so bad for whatever animators, just their job was just to animate drool constantly foaming out of his lips. Disgusting. You want to have a dog character? Fine. I get that they drool every now and then. Constantly? He's got a problem. He shouldn't be on the deck of a ship. That's a safety hazard. He's leaving that kind of trail around. Them boys be slipping, okay? They need firm footing on this ship. Do you understand? So anyways, that's how my week got crashed by rewatching Sinbad. I can't believe how long I talked about that. I thought that would be 10 minutes. Whoops. You'll have a good week now. Check out my Patreon, see what you think of it. And, sweet dreams, okay? And if you just so happen to see me in those dreams, don't run away. Come say hi. This has been Autumn Nights. Ra-da-da-da-da-da.